What's up, everybody? Derek here, and we are down on the creek to talk about something today, and that is what line should you be putting on your ultralight fishing setup. This right back in here is the perfect scenario for creek fishing, river fishing, lake fishing, wherever you're fishing for ultralight. I mean, there could be panfish, bass in here, but I'll tell you right now, if you are into bass fishing, which is not typically for ultralight fishing, bass will hit small baits, big bass especially. I've caught, 7-8 pound bass before on little bitty minnows. I mean, little ones. So if you're going for even fly type lures that are like featherweights, they are so tiny and so light. A lot of times you got to know what type of line you want to be doing, because if not, it will sound like, basically, if you've ever taken a rod and just whipped it, it sounds like a whip flying through the air if you've got too heavy a line with too light of a lure, because you're trying so hard to get that thing out there. So for me, with my ultralight fishing, it kind of depends what I'm going for. Now, if I've got a smaller lure, let's say I would consider up to 1/32 ounce. Pretty much 1/8, 1/32 ounce is pretty much the heaviest that I'm gonna go for any ultralight fishing. I love 1/8 ounce rooster tails and beetle spins, and even the smaller crankbaits, the little crappie style crankbaits. I even consider those ultralight. So if you're gonna be fishing with some of those, 8 to 10 pound is about the heaviest that I'm gonna go on any of my ultralight line. Now, I'm fishing with, 5'6", 6 foot, 6'6", with a lot of action on my ultralight rods. So when they are lighter and you've got that light line, you can actually bend that tip and get that lure out there, so you're not having to try so hard. Because I used to fish with a little bit stiffer rods, and I'd be casting a ultralight lure. I mean tiny, 1/32 ounce little jig heads with a little plastic or something on there, and it would sound literally like a whip, just every time I would cast. And I would make a cast like from here to over there, not very far at all, basically right in front of me. So if you want to get out there, you got to go down in size. So let's say a 1/32 ounce jig, and smaller than that even. You want to be some people even fish with 2 pound, which is like dental floss almost in a way, but 4 pound, 6 pound can be perfect. Now, if you hook a bigger fish, you got to make sure you set that drag immediately if you know it's a bigger fish, because if not, that thing's going to pop like crazy so fast. Once that fish makes a run, it is gone. But even some bigger bluegill, ones that are the size of your hand, those big fat ones that are like that thick, those things can even pop that line when you've got 6 pound test on there. And if you just hit a little limb or anything, it's going to have a little fray in there, and that 6 pound line becomes 2. But to get these ultralight lures out there and to be super effective and super accurate, because a lot of times those fish won't be out away from the bank, especially if you're walking a creek or a river, or you're fishing a dock or anything like that. You've got to make a super accurate cast, because those fish may be relating directly to structure. It may be right over the bank, right on some grass that's fallen over the bank, or there may be a brush pile or something, and you got to get like this far from the bank or whatever you're fishing up against. You got to make super accurate casts. So 10 pound if you want, 10 or 8 pound, I should say, if you want those 1/8 ounce style lures, the beetle spins, rooster tails, and any spinner basically in the 1/8 ounce size, or crankbaits in that same size. But you can even throw 6 pound on that, but you got to be just a little bit more careful. You've got that fast action if you've got it like I do, so you can give into a little bit, and it'll work that fish a little bit more if you do catch a bigger one. But 6 pound, 8 pound is pretty much my go-to whenever I'm fishing with those ultralight lures. Now, 4 pound, 6 pound, when I've got those 1/32 ounce, those 1/64 ounce, tiny little lures that are basically just little bitty things that are basically like fly fishing lures for the most part. But I hope that helps you guys with some of the tips for trying to get on some of those panfish or some of those smaller bass in little streams and just wherever you're fishing for the ultralight, because ultralight can actually be pretty fun, and then you can kind of figure out what's in the feeding frenzy of all the fish and the actual fish categories of what feeds up to that. So minnows, panfish, bass, you know how it goes, catfish, just whatever's hitting. But thanks for watching, you guys, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.